Alrighty folks, good morning. Happy holidays. It is Christmas morning. And I have one last item I was going to make for the meal. And it's mostly for gifts. It's not actually going to be eaten with our meal because we're having beef for our meal this year. But this is cranberry sauce. This is the most straightforward, simple thing. And let me turn on some heat. I have 4 cups of cranberries. They've been washed and sorted through. This is a good cranberry. It bounces. It's hard. It's not squishy. This is a bad cranberry. Doesn't bounce much. It's really squishy and soft. I'm going to throw that one away. Bad cranberry. I've just put my heat on high. I have a cup and a half of water. And I'm going to add a cup and a half of sugar. And I'm going to go a little light, just because I can. It does not affect it too terribly much. Some years I end up with pancake syrup, some years I end up with jelly. Mostly it's to do with making sure you cook it until all of the berries pop. So there we go, a light cup and a half. Those are all the ingredients, every last one. Do a little tidying. I'm trying to keep the kitchen relatively clean for the day. Just going to boil the crap out of these suckers. You can tell they're all crunchy sounding. And we need to heat them to boiling, and they're all going to pop, 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 pop. We're going to put them in these jars because they're so hot and all of these jars have been cleaned. A good number of these will self-seal, and I may or may not process these later for actual canning. Most of this will be gifts, so we'll see. I have for cranberries, which are highly acidic. This is not a recommended method, but a method that I've used safely for a number of years. Again, only for cranberries, which are highly acidic, and that, you know, all my jars are prepped and hot and clean and all of that beforehand. What I consider not doing the hot processing in the boiling water. I don't have time for that today, so I might get to it later this weekend. See, I'm trying to keep all my stuff together so that I don't have to go places. This is a very handy device. Mine is ancient. It is aluminum, but it is a jar filler. Lets me take a scoopful and put it in without getting it all over. That also keeps the rims clean, which means I can go ahead and top them immediately, which is much safer and easier for your canning process. So we're not going to go over the canning process today, but essentially it's just after you have the lids on everything, is you put it in hot water and you boil it underwater for about 10 minutes, which helps any additional oxygen escape from the jar and a seal produced. Because these will be so hot, when I put them in the jars, they actually do it almost entirely for themselves. Again, that's not like the 80, I don't remember who, CDC or anybody else, whoever recommends those things. It's not the proper way. I'm just letting you know. Again, this is I'm trying not to poison my family, but I'm not going to be, too attentive about something we're eating today or tomorrow, or within a month. Any jars that don't seal just through their own heat, I will put in the refrigerator and we'll eat those first. Once they've been turned into cranberry sauce, you can actually use them in baking, as well as personally I use it like jam. I don't like it with my meats, even my turkey. Alright, we got some starting to pop. Let's see if I can show you. I don't know if you can see that, but it is popped open, and we're going to wait until every last one of them has popped. Cranberries have a high amount of pectin, so it will gel. If you don't cook it long enough, you end up with cranberry syrup instead of cranberry gel. But in the long run, it's all delicious. I've actually had cranberry on my waffles and pancakes and French toast and really enjoy that. Alrighty, we're getting some more popping action. I don't know if you can hear it. Hopefully you can. You can see the overall volume appears to be reducing. That's because you can see the juices are starting to come out. So that water and sugar is now very pink, and it will continue as these pop. If you have a whole bunch of very light colored ones, your color may not be as much, but frankly there's usually plenty of darker red and lighter red mixed that you end up with a lovely deep red color. You can see much more of them are popped. And I'm keeping a close eye on these because you can see it's starting to genuinely boil. I have a pan that's just big enough for what I'm doing, so I'm going to keep an eye on it. And my oven's hot for putting in some breakfast here in a minute. I've turned off my stovetop, but it's going to retain heat for a good long time. This particular kind of electric stove does do that. And you'll have possibly heard me talk about when I'm using my cast iron how that retains heat. With a nice stainless steel pan like this, that happens less, but it's still the stovetop itself retains some of the heat. I'm going to continue stirring until I slow down. We're boiling a bit. I'm also smelling to make sure I'm not scorching the bottom. I'm using my spoon to make sure I cover every area of the pot. Make sure nothing is sticking. Alright, that is looking lovely. And what I need is a receptacle for some of this foaming bits. So we want to remove foamy bits. And this isn't 100%, this is just kind of skim off the top most of the foamy bits. Oop, I got a berry there. Oh well, it happens. And usually what I end up doing is I end up putting the foamy bits in the container that I use first in the household, so it'll be ugly, but we're still going to eat it. A lot of my berries are floating, and that's looking beautiful. Alright, while this is still quite hot, I am going to start filling jars. Let's see how much will fit in one do. Hey sweetie, making some cranberry sauce here.
Cool.
And as you can see, I'm just going to put a lid on it, and we're going to let it self-seal by being very, very hot. And it will be ready as soon as it cools down. All right, kids, have a great Christmas and Yule, and we will talk to you later.